Hello. Today we're going to talk about paraphrasing because before we get to the research portion, it's important for you to understand how you take the information from an article and then put it into whether it be your paper pencil notes or into your Google Doc notes that I'm going to show you how to use in this video as well. So our LEQ is going to be, how do I paraphrase information from a nonfiction text? First, let's talk about why we paraphrase. One of the things that paraphrasing helps you with is monitoring your comprehension. If you read a portion of a nonfiction article and you get to the end and you realize you can't, to yourself or to someone else, explain what you just read, then that's a sign to you that your comprehension broke down and you need to go back and reread the information. Those of us that struggle with nonfiction reading, this is a strategy that'll become helpful for you to know if you should be reading forward or going back and rereading. The second thing is it helps prevent plagiarism. When we get into research, because researching is so much easier than it used to be, it's really easy for us to copy and paste something into our notes or into our writing and just use it as our own. But that falls under the guidelines of plagiarizing, which is something that we want to steer clear of. We want to create good habits now so that we don't get into that bad habit. The third thing that I just want to caution you on is that too much of a good thing is a bad thing. We've talked about that before. We've looked in our last writing about how to use quotes and how to embed them in our writing, but we also talked a little bit about that point, how not always do we want to use quotes for something. Sometimes we can word it better in our own words, so we don't always want to use quotes, and paraphrasing is one of those things that we can kind of sprinkle throughout our writing along with the quotes so that we don't get that too much of a good thing is a bad thing. So when do I paraphrase? Basically, when you found a golden nugget, you want to leave it just like that. So you want to use those golden nuggets, those quotes that you can't put any better in your own words, and you just want to put them in quotations in your writing. If you can reword it and paraphrase it better in your own words, then you want to go ahead and do the paraphrasing. So if it's perfect the way it is, it's a golden nugget, leave it, put it in quotes. If you can reword it better to make it more understandable, then you reword it to make it more understandable and paraphrase. How to paraphrase. First, you read the information in the article until you know what it means, or the website. Look away from the original source and rewrite the information using your own words. And if you can't use your own words, look back at the article again to make sure you truly understand what it's saying. And then again, look away to make sure that you can kind of write it down or type it in your own words. Once you have it typed or written in your own words, please make sure to look back at the original to make sure you didn't use any phrases from the text accidentally. If you did, it's okay. Just make sure that you put those in quotes so that you're giving credit to the author of the piece. And then finally, please, please, please make sure you cite your source now. It becomes much harder to do later. After you've looked at 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 10 sources, it's really hard to figure out where you got that one piece of information from. So do it now and save yourself the headache later. Okay, so at this point, now that we know how to paraphrase and when to paraphrase and why we paraphrase, we're going to take a look at an article that I found on a topic. And I'm going to show you how to read through it, how to pull out some important information, and then paraphrase it and put it into my social calls notes. I'm going to be using the Google Doc notes, but you, by your own choice, are more than welcome to do this by paper if that works better for you. So I found an article, and I'm going to write the title of it down here because it says website or article. This is a website actually. So I'm going to write down the title. Sea Turtle Conservancy. And I'm also going to write down kind of that subtitle, information about sea turtles, threats, and that way if I need to look back at it, I have it. I'm also going to go up to the top up here in my URL box. I'm going to hit Control. I'm going to highlight so everything's highlighted. I'm going to Control C, and I'm going to paste it over here in the link box so that if I need to go back to it later, I have that exact link right in there for me. This is the first website or article that I found, so I'm going to put a number 1 in there for my source. And before I started videoing, I did take a look at this website, and it is credible. There are active links throughout. There is up here, before I had the small screen, there is a place where you can contact them. You can see that this is kind of the organization that's backing all of this. It is a .org website, which is one of the ones that we talked about being credible. Again, there's lots more links inside here that give me another indication. Down here you can see about the Sea Turtle Conservancy. They have contact information, things that show up in the media, and they have kind of their updated date down here at the bottom. So this is a credible source. So underneath the CRAP test, I'm going to put yes. If by chance you're going through and looking at articles and you find that something doesn't pass the CRAP test, then you want to make sure that you're not including it on your note sheet. Since this one is credible, I'm going to go kind of scroll over here to the right a little bit. You'll see the next box on my note sheet says notes found. So at this point, I'm ready to start reading through the article and seeing if I can find any information that falls underneath those big ideas or categories of information that I was looking for. So if I read here at the top, it says each year thousands of hatchling turtles emerge from their nests along the southeast U.S. coast and enter the Atlantic Ocean. Sadly, only an estimated 1 in 1,000 to 10,000 will survive to adulthood. The natural obstacles faced by young and adult sea turtles are staggering, but it's the increasing threats caused by humans that are driving them to extinction. Today, all sea turtles found in U.S. waters are federally listed as endangered, except for the loggerhead, which is listed as threatened. So, one of the big ideas that I was going to be looking for was human threats, but also natural threats. So based on this paragraph that I just read, it says that humans are the major cause for the extinction of turtles. So I'm going to go over here to my notes. And I'm going to type that in here. Humans are the main cause for sea turtle extinction. So I made sure I knew what the article said over here. I put it into my own words and typed it into my notes. Now, if I go back and double check, says the natural obstacles faced by young and adult sea turtles are staggering, but it's the increasing threats caused by humans that are driving them to extinction. My sentence doesn't have, or my paraphrase doesn't have any phrases, groups of words that are identical to over here. You see the word extinction because that's a key word that I need to use in mine. And you see humans, but there's none of those other words over here are identical, or groups of words are identical to what I have, so I'm okay with what I have here. And then I'm going to label it ethos, logos, or pathos. And to me, that's trying to make us feel kind of guilty for our part in the extinction of turtles. So I know that if it's an emotion, that it's pathos. And the key idea is human cause, because it's the humans that are causing the sea turtles to kind of become extinct. So I'm going to continue reading over here to see if I can find anything else to add to my notes. It says natural threats. In nature, sea turtles face a host of life and death obstacles to their survival. Predators such as raccoons, crabs, and ants raid eggs and hatchlings still in the nest. Once they emerge, hatchlings make bite-sized meals for birds, crabs, and a host of predators in the ocean. After reaching adulthood, sea turtles are relatively immune to predation, except for the occasional shark attack. These natural threats, however, are not the reason sea turtle populations have plummeted toward extinction. To understand what really threatens sea turtles' survival, we must look at the actions of humans. So I do want to make note, basically what this paragraph is talking about is while there are natural reasons for the sea turtles to become extinct, it's not the major reason, or it's not the kind of overriding reason why the sea turtles in our oceans are growing to be less and less. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my notes. I'm still have the same article, so I don't need to put anything in this box. Still the same link, still the same source. So my crap test and my number are still the same because I haven't changed to a different article. but I found a new piece of information that I want to add to this, and that is that there are animal predators that are helping to decrease the number of sea turtles, but it's not the big reason or the major reason why they're becoming extinct. So again, if I look back at my main source, I don't see any of those words over in here. We see the natural cause. They've listed a couple animals here, which I didn't bother to put over here because for me, I'm focusing more on the humans than the natural causes. I think most of us understand that there is a life cycle, or a food chain, I guess I should say, that the animals are involved in. So this seems to be pretty typical. I'm going to say this is just logos. It's not getting me to feel anything necessarily, and this would be natural cause because it's focusing more on the animals and parts of nature that are creating the issue. If I continue on to the next section, it's called Illegal Sea Turtle Shell Trade. It says hawksbill sea turtles, recognized for their beautiful gold and brown shells, have been hunted for centuries to create jewelry and other luxury items. As a result, these turtles are now listed as critically endangered. Scientists estimate that hawksbill populations have declined by 90% during the past 100 years. While illegal trade is a primary cause of this decline, the demand for shells continues today on the black market. The lack of information about sea turtles leads many tourists to unwittingly support the international trade in these endangered species. Buying, selling, or importing any sea turtle products in the U.S., as in many countries around the world, is strictly prohibited by law. Okay, at this point I feel like I want to get something specific in my notes about one of the reasons why the sea turtle is becoming endangered, and this one focuses specifically on the hawksbill sea turtle. So I feel like out of all of this, I like this first sentence up here where it talks about why they're becoming endangered and the fact that they're being sold on the black market. So I am going to copy this sentence right here and put it in my notes. Again, it's under the same article, same link, same source. It still passes the CRAP test because it's the same article. But I'm going to go to this box here. I'm going to put in quotes because these are not my words. I am truly using the copying and pasting. And I'm going to put that in here. It says hawksbill sea turtles, recognized for beautiful gold and brown shells, have been hunted for centuries to create jewelry and other luxury items. I want that in there to kind of give me a reason why they're becoming extinct. So then I'm going to go to my next box. This is completely factual, and it's a human cause for them to becoming extinct. So at this point, you've seen kind of how to paraphrase information. You've seen how to pull quotes and put them into your notes so that you clearly know. You can see this one is a quote, not my words. This is my words, and these are my words. So you can clearly see the difference. It is important that you do that now, so when you go to write your paper and you do your presentation, that you clearly know the difference.